Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the High Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm as always your host, Everyday High Patriot, and for today's episode, we are going to talk about Christmas 2025, the crazy bipolar weather going on. It seems like in this state or other state around here now, and new laws are going to go into effect here come 2026 by states. Obviously, for those that don't know yet, I have trimmed my beard just a little bit yesterday. I think it was better now. It was like down to like here, but it was getting just out of control is what it was. Just getting too long is what it was there, and I probably could even take a couple more inches off of here, but I decided to just cut like a little bit off the very bottom, and I think it worked out well. I do kind of miss it going to like that point though, because now when I do my little like stroke there like that, it just kind of ends. It just feels weird. So, but got another new hat, Christmas Eve. Kind of irritated a little bit because I thought it was supposed to be like a teal / white coloration, but it kind of looks, at least to me anyway, like looking at it straight on, almost like a little bit like off white or like kind of like a what do you call that now? It's like a not really a beige, but like, yeah, maybe kind of like a beige or something. But it feels nice. Also got a hunter orange cap for hunting next year. So I'm pretty sure this will be approved coloration-wise for going out there and going hunting. So yeah, figure I'd do that for gun season next year. Unfortunately, I missed gun season this year. Because it was early December, and then I believe the weekend was like the 21st or something like that. That's what we had. But there was quite a few deer taken during that time, though. The Ohio DNR put that the other day, and they were like, yeah, it was like 15, I think it was like 15 or 16,000 during that like week and some change there. So that's obviously down, though, because it was, I believe last year it was like 16 or 17,000, and the year before that was like 18 or 19, so... And I think honestly the main reason why it would be down obviously is because it's just the cost of everything. Specifically when you start looking into the things and you realize between having to get your hunting license, various deer tags that cost X amount of money, and then the cost of guns and ammunition to go hunt these deer, like it's a big expense, but man, it really is, like, for what you're actually getting, because it's not like you're getting, like, you know, a 500-600 pound animal after processing. You're getting, so I was talking to my cousin about it, I think the hanging weight of these animals is, like, maybe 200 pounds or so, usually, and then you're lucky you can get, like, 100 pounds of meat out of them, basically what it is after everything's, like, taken out. So, like, you still get a decent amount of meat to fill your freezer, but, like, it's going to take, like, 2 deer to fill a freezer, usually is what it is, at minimum. So, but yeah, it's just kind of, for a lot of people, it's not really worth it, I think, honestly. And, like, I sort of understand that, obviously, because especially when you know, you got to go find a processor, do all that stuff, unless you're doing it yourself, obviously, you know how to do it is what it is there, which most people don't. And that is a dying thing that really doesn't need to make a comeback, honestly, because when you look at, you know, potentially, if shit does hit the fan at some point in the near future, whether it be some kind of an economic collapse, whether it be by economic collapse, I mean like a Great Depression kind of situation, or whether it be like a full-blown like EMP burst and you're all, you know, back to like caveman times, essentially, you're going to need to know how to do that stuff on yourself, obviously. And I think a lot of people, they do know how to like gut a deer, maybe like skin a deer, especially if you've been hunting for, you know, years or decades of your life and stuff like that. But the people that don't know how to do that stuff is way high, and the people that don't know how to actually process down a deer is even higher. So, or any animal for that matter, not just a deer, but like whether it be a cow, whether it be a pig, whatever the case be, like it doesn't really matter. Like, this is unfortunately stuff that's gone away in our society because of the fact that you have people that just want to like rely on the grocery store and be like, oh, yep, it's all good to go, man. We can go, you know, just get a package of food over here, whatever it is there. What's even crazier to me is how many people think that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Like that is the one that like how is this person able to have the same amount of voting rights as I do? You know, like that's basically what that boils down to. Like it's just fucking insanity, really, is what it is. So very irritating for sure. But yeah, I think honestly, like the best thing we can do as a society is by the time like kids are in like somewhere between like 3rd and 6th grade, like you don't want to traumatize them too early, is what it is, obviously. But like by the time they're like, I don't know, like 10 or 12, someplace in there, you should take them on a factory tour of like a food processing plant or something, and like show them like, hey, like this is where your meat actually comes from, and this like, and then take them to the actual farm where it's actually raised at. That's what it is. And be like, okay, kids, this is where the deer. This is like where the pig starts out at. This is where the sheep starts out at. This is where the cow starts out at. This is where the chicken start out at, etc. There, and then be like, and this is the processing plant they go to be slaughtered for your food, etc. So, because I think if a lot of people knew that, they would be like, whoa. I think it would also turn a lot more kids into like vegetarians or vegans for a little bit of time in their life. Until they're like, ooh, tasty bacon. So, but anyway. But yeah, Christmas yesterday was like kind of like, it just felt like another day, honestly. I slept most of the day. Mostly because I'm just being an asshole all the last few days now is what it is. So I can't wait until like I get evicted coming in the year's what it is. So hopefully I'll actually have a decent neighbor after that, what it is, but who knows. So yeah, we're going to talk about that next week. Next week I will officially be doing the announcement for who I'm going to be endorsing come 2026 for governor. You guys probably already know who it is. I'm just not going to say it right now is what it is, because I want to make it official as what it is next week. That's the whole episode of Freedom Friday next week will be Virtual Education Network's official endorsement of this candidate for the Republican primary, and then we'll discuss specifically that person's political platform. We'll discuss Vivek's lack of one, and we'll also discuss other candidates in the race right now that potentially could be part of a different ticket and be better in the ticket with someone else to primary out Vivek is what it is there, because there's a lot of people catching fire right now, and there's a lot of people that are just like, they've been in the race for like a few months now or whatever, and they just haven't done nothing is what it is to really get their name out there. So I will say there's a lot of people that are like, they feel like paid shills on X and stuff like that right now with the whole thing, because I've noticed in the last week or so, it was basically before, during, and after that AmFest speech that Vivek gave, there's been so many people that are like claiming to be like journalists and stuff like that, but really they're just like some nobody who's like some like dude with a blog, basically, is the best way to describe it, or some dude with like a podcast or whatever it is there. And they're basically complete unknown is what it is, or they claim to be like a political strategist or something like that for the state. And I'm just like, okay, if that were the case, then why the fuck is this the first time I'm ever hearing your name, dude? So it just seems very suspicious. But yeah, there's a lot of these people coming out in Vivek's favor now, and they're being like, oh, these other people don't stand a chance, and this thing and that thing, and it's like, okay. So the state of Ohio voters, for the most part right now, the ones that are actually paying attention, have obviously rejected Vivek's bullshit is what it is. Why the hell the Ohio GOP is still backing him at this point is beyond me. And the only thing I can think is because there is some serious shit going on right now in our political spectrum, where my understanding is there is a concerted effort by a bunch of Indian foreign nationals who are now in control of a lot of the big tech companies and a lot of just like big business in general, like corporate America, essentially what it is there, who have, billions and billions of dollars behind them. And if you combine all together, it's probably like $1 trillion together, is my guess, honestly, at this point. They are apparently taking, tens of millions of dollars right now and putting it into the pockets of various people. Like, they're basically bribing these people, what it is at the end of the day. And I don't know if it's that Alex, I forget that guy's last name. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. It's like Trilafino or Trilafano or something like that. It's some kind of Greek pronunciation or whatever. But basically, this is the jerk off that's in charge of the High GOP right now. He's the one that specifically was basically trying to strong arm everybody else to make the GOP back Vivek like 6-8 months ago, before we even had a fucking primaries, what it is here. And that's the thing. I can understand, like, if you would want to back a candidate, like, come, let's say, January 1st of the year of the primary. Like, that's one thing, because that's like 4 months away from the primary then. But you don't back a fucking candidate, like, a year out from the damn primary, dude. That's just ridiculous, is what it is. Or a year and a half from the fucking primary is what it is there. So, but yeah, there's definitely some concerted effort by a bunch of billionaire people from India, who I believe are all part of the same caste, if I'm not mistaken, from what I've paid attention to in the last day or so. And they're basically the ones that are backing everything going on right now. And they're trying to do some concerted effort between Vivek for the governorship, and I guess a bunch of other Indian people that are in that like same caste as they are, is what it is, for other various political positions right now, and whether it be state governments or whether it be federal government right now is what it is there. So, but yeah, and then of course there was something that came out yesterday where it was this guy named like Matt Fonte or something like that, I think is what it was, who put out some weird statement about basically like not wanting, like basically saying like DEI, deport all Indians, is what it is there, and then basically claiming like, oh, it's not about like, violence or whatever, but then all these Indian people that were accounts probably based in India is what it is, they're on X, which that's why I really wish Musk would turn back on that feature, honestly, to like prove where these accounts are coming from. But he doesn't, obviously, because it would actually be able to have American citizens call these fucking foreign influencers out, is what it is then, easily. And I think what's going on is you have a bunch of these Indian scammers from India faking to be here in America, is what it is there, and being like, oh, but this guy's calling for violence and stuff like that. It's like, well, he wasn't. He was literally just being like, I'm sick and tired of seeing my country being invaded, go fuck off. Like, that's basically what he was saying to these people. So, anyway. And that's the thing, like, if we actually had remigration, it would be, problem solved easily. Like, they would just fuck off back to India, like, ain't a problem then, bro. So, but unfortunately they will not, so it is a problem right now. And I could easily see us, I don't really want to go down the road, but, like, I feel like it's inevitable at this point that something's going to happen in the next, like, 3 to 4 years now. And I could easily see us being in either some kind of tribalistic warfare, a legit race war between, like, all the races, or some kind of weird fucked up holy war is what it is, or maybe a mix thereof, honestly, either by 2030 or before 2030. So it'd either be midterm elections, 2028 election cycle, or by 2030 then. And I think it just depends on exactly the timeline of events here, because I could easily see with the way that populations are declining, and that's the real reason I think a lot of these people are trying to import these folks, is what it is now, is because there's such a birth decline, not only here in America, but like worldwide, basically. But the problem is that with that is that, yeah, you're importing people now and creating a so-called short-term solution is what it is. But then long-term, it's not going to be a forever thing, because every single country is having a birth rate decline, and who the hell knows why? Like, it could be forever chemicals in the water. It could be microplastics and stuff like that are coming into the human body and causing, sperm reduction or whatever the case be. Hell, it could just be food supply being so processed out in all these countries that it creates, again, a decline in sperm counts is what it is there. And so it means less children is what it is there. Or it could be any of the things at that point. It could be like 20 different factors for that matter, honestly. It could be the atrazine and stuff like that, the fucking water supplies that's causing, the crazy chemical mixtures in people and causing these kids to think they're transgender and stuff like that. So, could be a million different things, honestly, combined together. And I think until we start banning these things, until we start, actually trying to fix society and fix our, countries from the soil up. And that's another thing too, by the way, like look at East Palestine for that matter. It's been what, like 3, almost 4 years since that happened now. And in that time, they have yet to actually fix the soil or the water supply in that area, where all you should do to fix the soil is literally plant, I think it's oyster mushrooms is what it is, and they will suck up the toxins out of the soil. Now, granted, I don't know if that would actually work if you planted them like in the water system too, for that matter, if they would just like grow out of the soil and the water and then just like suck it out of the water too, for that matter. I'm not sure. But I'm sure you could figure out, like, I'm sure there's enough smart scientist guys out there and stuff like that could figure something out. Like, splice something into something and then, like, throw that thing into the fucking creeks and riverbeds and stuff like that and see if that'll help us what it is then. So, who knows? But, like I said, it's just fucking irritating to, like, see all these politicians that don't do nothing is what it is, man. And or just like letting our society and our world basically die is what it is there, because whether it be they're so old they don't give a fuck, or whether it be they're just like so corrupt they don't give a fuck is what it is. So could be either or, could be both for that matter. So anyway, but yeah, so the weather though, it's been pretty bipolar here in the last like week or two. I think it was about a week or so ago, we were down into like single digits, and even down to like, I think it was like 2 or 3 one day, and then it became like -5 or 6 that day is what it was. And yeah, it's been really cold like that. And then all of a sudden now we've had almost like a warm spurt for like the past like few days now, to where it's like kind of jumped up about 30 degrees into like the 30s, 40s, etc. now. I think today it was like 50 something, but that's been raining all day is what it is. Like, that's why I have the light on, obviously, right now at 4 o'clock, because it's just dank and shitty outside. It looks like it's about darkness almost. So, and I know sometime tomorrow it's going to be, let me check my weather app real quick, actually. I want to say it's supposed to be down to like 35 again tomorrow or something, and then it's going to be like in the 20s or something again come like Monday or Tuesday, I think is what it is. So, yeah, let's see, right now it is 45, the real feel is 37. A bunch of rain all throughout the night, it looks like, up until about 7. And it's going to be spotty here and there. Oh, that's fucking nice. And they're talking about possibility of snow tomorrow morning, which is when I'm supposed to go out and get some stuff done then. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, it goes from the high today was supposed to be 48, high tomorrow was supposed to be 38. Sunday it's supposed to be rainy and 59. Monday it's supposed to be 47. And then Tuesday it just takes a shit because it's going to be 24. It's going to be the high then. So yeah, it's just craziness then. And it's going to be snowy on between Monday and Tuesday. It's supposed to be snowing apparently. So, which why it didn't snow on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, I don't understand that, but that is what it is. It happens from time to time. I remember telling a quick Christmas story here. I remember back, it was like I forget if it was 2018 or 2019. It was before COVID, obviously. It was one of those 2 years that we went down to my sister's place, and it was my mom and I staying there, and then my aunt and uncle, when he was still alive there, because he died in 2021, I believe what it was, from the COVID death shots. Yeah, the two of them were staying at like a local hotel, motel, whatever it was there. I think it was a hotel, actually, like a Hilton or something, that's what it was, or something, or a Best Western maybe or something. But, or no, I'm sorry, that's not what it was. My brother had got, because I was when we still worked for OSU at the time, he ended up getting them a deal at the one nice place downtown is what it was, for like real cheap accommodation at the time, whatever. Well, not real cheap, it was like 10%, 20% off, whatever it was there. But yeah, it was a nice place though. And what was interesting was we were all hanging out then at my sister's place on Christmas Day, And I looked outside, and there was this woman in like some booty shorts and like basically like a tank top, like running around and jogging through the streets is what it was there. And I'm just like, it's not that one lady. And then I went outside myself, and I'm like, I guess it is that one actually, because it was like legit like 60 something is what it is, which is pretty wild for Ohio at that time. So, although I guess Colorado this week though they had like 70 something. It's like 70, 75 up there. So I know Honda was up there doing bike rides and stuff with other people. So, which is a pretty wild deal to have as your Christmas Day celebration. I guess it would be there. But yeah, so I guess I'm not surprised that like we had like no snow is what it was this year. But again, it'll be, of course, because of that it'll be coming, for the next several months is my guess, and we'll probably have like a big old May storm or something like that down the road. I remember years and years ago, this was back in I'm trying to remember now. I think it was around the time my nephew was born. So that would have been like 2007-ish, maybe 2008, somewhere in there. Yeah, I think it was around 2000, maybe 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. We had gone down to, it was my mom, myself, my aunt, my uncle. We had gone down to my brother's place because it was my brother and sister's birthday that year, and we were going down to have a family get together with them, is what it was there, and like a birthday celebration essentially is what it was there. And so we got down there, and we were starting to drive down, and we almost came back home actually, because while we were driving, we got maybe like 45 minutes, because it's like supposed to be like a 2.5 hour drive, give or take. Obviously if you're a speed demon, you can do it in about 2 hours, give or take, there from up here to down there. But usually it's about 2.5 hours. And then of course if you're into traffic, it could be like 3-ish hours or so, 3.5 maybe. Especially now with all these people making like 15-minute city down there in Columbus. So anyway, but yeah, so we were down there, and it was like we were going to my brother's place, and I think we were about maybe 45 minutes or so into the drive. So we were probably around like maybe an hour actually. So we were probably like Worcester area would be my guess. And my uncle was like trying to keep the van on the road, and I looked over, and I noticed there was a truck, like an obviously 4-wheel drive, like I don't know if it was like a Ford or a Chevy or what it was, but it had apparently like skidded off the road and down into an embankment right by a bridge, and I'm like, that's not good. So, but then we were able to keep it on the road, and we were able to get down there, and then of course when we got down there, it was snowing when we were coming down there, and then it basically just got worse over like the next night or so, to the point that we went outside, I think it was the next day, and there was legitimately like, I think it was like 14 or 15 inches that had dropped that night or whatever. Like, it was fucking crazy. And I remember it creating like snowdrifts and stuff, because I remember we were at my brother's place. Like, I can't remember if we had stayed like we all stayed the night at my brother's place or what it was. I think maybe that's what it was actually, because my sister had been grabbed from wherever she was living at the time or whatever. And then I think we all went to my brother's place, as what it was, to stay there for that night or something like that, because we were all like, yeah, we don't want to be, stuck or whatever. And then my aunt and uncle had gone to like a Best Western or whatever it was at the time then. And we were basically at my brother's place. My sister and I went outside, and we found these like giant snowdrifts. It was interesting. The way my brother used to live there, it was a so you could go from his parking lot, and then there was this sidewalk that was maybe like the sidewalk was here, the grass was like right here, pretty much is what it was. So it was like maybe like a foot down or so. And so he'd gone outside thinking like, okay, there's like a bunch of snow on the ground, whatever it is there. Like, let's go play in the snow. I shit you not, I took one step off the fucking sidewalk and I went nuts deep into a giant snowdrift. Like, it had to be at least 4 feet deep anyway. It was fucking crazy. Like, it legit, like, right up through my entire leg, right up into my nuts, and then basically just, like, freezing me out. I had to go back inside immediately. Had to get my pants in the dryer. It was a real pain in the ass, dude. Well, I think I don't know if my mom washed them too or not, but I know it was like, I was in pajama pants for the rest of the day, basically, until they got washed up, because that was the one pair of pants I'd taken with me there, is what it was. So, yeah, it was pretty much a nightmare. But up until that point, it was fun. I think we ended up making some ice cream then, too. And then, of course, my aunt and uncle, we called them, and we're like, hey, you guys gonna come over then? And they're like, we can't get out of the parking lot, it's too packed here or whatever. Remember, there was like, okay, I'll take my SUV over there because it has 4-wheel drive. And it was funny because you can tell, like, people there just didn't give a fuck, because it was his parking lot. There was some person, I think they were trying to drive like a Mini Cooper or something into there. It got stuck, and they're just like, well, fuck it, and just left it sit in the parking lot where it was, and then just got out of the vehicle and went inside then. And so, yeah, we ended up having to basically get around that somehow and to go get my aunt and uncle then, and then ended up bringing them back. And then it was basically the 6 of us, or I'm trying to think now, because I think my brother had a roommate at the time too, so it would have been, I think it would have been 1, 2, 3, 6. Yeah, I think my roommate had his girlfriend come over there too, is what it was. So it was like the 8 of us were watching a movie or something together, is what it was then. Like Ratatouille or something, that's what it was at the time. I think that's what we were watching. I could be wrong about the date. It might have been something else, actually. It might have been Wall-E, actually. I don't know. It was whatever movie was out at the time then. So, but yeah, it was a fun day, though. And it's one of those things I miss now, obviously, because my mom's gone. And, you know, it'll be 2 years come the 18th of January. So, that was my uncle's been gone for about 4 years now. So, just over 4 years now. So, yeah, very fun for sure. But anyway, so yeah, it just holidays are a bit different this year than it was. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and discuss some new laws going into effect coming in 2026 here, because this is something that popped up in my feed today. So, got a bunch of new laws by state. And as this article says, 2026 states across the U.S. will introduce diverse laws affecting privacy, wages, health, and consumer protections. I really wish that, like, to me, what's ridiculous is when it comes to privacy in this country, you can legitimately, if you have someone's phone number, you can basically use that phone number to find out their name, and if you find out the name, you can find out a bunch of political information about them too, for that matter. And I don't understand how we have, like, legal doxing in this country, basically is what it is. Like, the American people's privacy, because of big tech and data collection and data selling and stuff like that, is an absolute fucking joke, dude. And it's something that needs to be seriously, like, clamped down on. Like, we need to have actual privacy against what it is now. Like, you shouldn't be able to have somebody find your phone number, and then they can basically find out your house or your apartment or whatever the case be and come attack you if they wanted to. Or it's like that one video recently. There was a FGH, whatever you want to call it, list actor guy who was like this black actor dude from a couple things back in the day, and he was basically talking about like finding some descendants of some family that apparently like purchased his family when they were slaves, I guess, back in the 1800s before the Civil War happened, obviously, and was basically then threatening to like pull up on their house and like do something. And I'm just like, so you're first off admitting to stalking these people, and then you're basically threatening the lives of random strangers you don't fucking know. It's like, what the hell's the matter with you, dude? Seriously, come on. So, yeah, shit like that needs to be dealt with as specifically as what it was there. So, anyway, but yeah, going back to the state by state law stuff here. So, let's see, you got Washington, states across country are enacting laws. Various topics new year, from increased privacy protection and wage changes to health and social policy changes. Here are some of the biggest changes to states in 2026. Some may start as soon as January 1st. You got Arkansas said, while some of the laws from the legislative season 2025 are already in effect, others include language that go into effect in the new year. That's one thing I realized when it came to was Alabama back in the day. You had, I forget what date it was they passed constitutional carry. I think it was like really early on in their legislative season, like March, April, something like that, what it was. But then it didn't go into effect until the following January because apparently it's some weird law on their state books to where instead of it going in like 90 days later, it just all starts like the next year. So, anyway. Yeah, we got Act 427 said created to strengthen Arkansas homes program. Allow state officials to provide financial grants to certain property owners and nonprofit organizations to quote assist with the promote the migration of losses to insurable dwellings due to catastrophic wind events. So basically, against like hurricane, well, not I guess not hurricanes. It would be against like probably tornadoes and stuff like that would be my guess. So this says catastrophic wind events. So basically, protection against like your house getting destroyed in twisters, what it basically is there. Then we got Act 621 to establish a farmer's sales tax identification card. Farmers can present when buying products in lieu of an exemption certificate that claims a tax exemption. That's actually good because that's more or less like what they'd be creating there would be essentially almost like a CCW, except it would be for farmers to have is like, be like, yeah, it's, you know, like Jed Willis farmer, and then it's like the card or whatever for them to get like a tax break essentially for probably various farm equipment stuff they're buying, or whether it be, you know, a bunch of manure. Oh, I guess it would be them buying manure. But it'd be like bags or something maybe for the manure they're gonna, you know, bag up or whatever then, or maybe a bunch of like various feed or something at like a feed store or something, and they get like a tax break because that is obviously would be a good deal on that one. And then finally, we got Act 628, said will mandate coverage for treatment of diseases and conditions caused by severe obesity under a health benefit plan on and after January 1st, 2026, establishes requirements for a covered person to qualify for coverage, applies to people 18 and over. So basically, what they're saying is anything related to being overweight, which would be diabetes and all that stuff like that, which I don't know how I feel about that one, honestly, dude. Like, I mean, I guess if it's like a weight loss program, that would make sense, but like, it sounds like it's more or less just them being like, hey, we know you're overweight, we know you can't deal with stuff, we know you got diabetes and a bunch of other health issues now because of that. Here's free medical care, basically, what they're saying. So, I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. All right, let's see. We got Shittle, California. AB 1340 allows certain gig drivers the right to unionize in California without being certain employees. Law only applies to non-employee independent drivers beginning January 1st. Then we got SB 1053, where all plastic bags, including the thicker reusable versions still common at grocery stores, are now banned under state's new law aimed at closing loopholes in the state's long-standing restrictions on single-use plastics. Fuck Democrats, dude, for real. Then we got SB 243 requires chatbot operators to put safeguards in place when their programs communicate with minors or people expressing suicidal thoughts. Is basically has to do with that kid that killed himself a while ago. So the law allows families to sue chatbot developers for failing to comply with or for negligence that causes harm. Again, how are you going to pull that shit, dude? Like, that kid was a fucking idiot. His family was stupid for not paying attention. He was obviously suicidal and stuff is what it was there. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. This is what it is. So, see, in Florida, we got SB 1808 will require healthcare facilities and healthcare providers to refund any overpayments made by patients in 30 days. That's actually a good one that helps out people that get fucked over by the medical industry. And then we got House Bill 255, starting New Year's Day, Florida Department of Law Enforcement must post a searchable list of people who have been convicted or entered a plea of guilty or nolo contest. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. Basically, I think it's no contest is what it is there. To animal cruelty charges, so that's good. So basically, people that abuse dogs, etc., are finally going to be searched out and called out then. So we got Georgia. Home insurance companies must provide a 60-day policy that they intend to cancel a policy, or 60-day notice that they intend to cancel policy. That's up to 30 days. Current requirement. Up from a 30-day current requirement. That's good. So basically, if they're going to cancel your homeowners insurance or whatever the case be, they got to give you 2 months advance notice on that one. We got Senate Bill 69. Bill requires anyone who funds a lawsuit to register as a, quote, litigation financier with the Department of Banking and Finance. In part, it bans any foreign government or non-governmental person from a foreign country from financing litigation in the state of Georgia. That's good. All states should be doing this stuff like that, honestly, dude. Because we should be banning all these countries from buying up our farmland and stuff like that. And then finally for Georgia, we got House Bill 567. Georgia will allow teledentistry in the state, but it does include conditions, limitations, and regulations of the practice. However, it permits dental care via teleconferencing, basically. I don't understand how you could do that. Like, I mean, I guess you could diagnose somebody having like a couple of cavities in their mouth or something, maybe, but like you still have to have them come into the place to get them drilled and filled there. So, yeah, it just seems kind of dumb, honestly. In the state of Illinois, we got Senate Bill 2960, which will bar hotels from providing toiletries such as shampoo, conditioner, and bath soap in less than 6-ounce plastic containers unless specifically requested by the hotel guest. So basically, those single-use little ones are like, nope, none of that anymore. Again, fucking Democrats being Democrats. Then we got Senate Bill 1563. Make it easier for authorities to remove squatters who are illegally staying at someone else's residence. That actually worked out well for them on that one. And then Senate Bill 212 will mandate employees to compensate mothers who take breaks at work to pump breast milk for up to a year after their child is born. The bill will prohibit employers from requiring employees to use paid leave time for pumping. That actually is a good one. Like, well, first off, I don't know. Like, I feel like, I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Because, like, obviously, if you're like a cashier or something, like, I don't know, if you do it on your break or something, then, you know, if you can wait that long. But I don't know. I feel like we need to give more paid leave to women that have had children. Obviously, they're not like a year, obviously, but like, you know, like a month or so after they've had a kid is what it is. They should have like a longer leave or whatever there. Let's see. Kentucky's gonna ban. Oh, sorry, they're not going to ban. They're going to require businesses to sell tobacco, nicotine, and vape products to now be licensed by the Department of Alcohol Beverage Control. Let's see. Got Tennessee being dickheads like Ohio and trying to ban THC products. What else we got here now? And of course, doing bans on people under the age of 18 from creating accounts and social media sites. Good luck enforcing that one, you authoritarian assholes. And then finally, the last one for Tennessee is called Savannah's Law, passed as House Bill 1200 and Senate Bill 0324. Law will create a registry of persistent domestic violence offenders. People with at least one previous domestic violence conviction will be required to register as a domestic violence offender if they are convicted of any more domestic violence offenses. Or you could, I don't know, keep them locked the fuck up. You know, just saying, dude, like, maybe that would work better. And then the last one they have on here is for Virginia, which is basically raising minimum wage to $12.77 an hour. And a couple other things, so not really worth talking about those ones. But, yeah, I think that's the problem with our society in general. It's like that guy who was, for those who haven't seen it, there was that video that came out about, I think it was a week or so ago. And it was the dude who tried to kill the cop in the Canton Walmart there, which is literally like 15 minutes from here or something right now, that's what it is. And the issue with this dude was he was busted in 2023 for trying to sell, I forget what the cop called him. It was something with a B, but then it could have, he also said it could have been fentanyl pills or whatever. And it was like 200 plus fentanyl pills, essentially, was what this guy was trying to drug traffic. They busted him in that 2 years ago. He got 4 to 6 years in prison for that, but yet he was back on the streets in 80 days, like less than 3 months. And then from there, he apparently had gotten a domestic violence charge on him after that, after he was released way, way early, which he shouldn't have been. And he ended up, that 180-day sentence for the domestic violence charge, he served like 12 days and was back out then to literally go shoplift there at Walmart and try to kill this cop. And now he's going down for, like, I think it's like 30-something years it'll be, or something like that is what it'll be then. Plus whatever else they can get him on, like, federally is what it is then. So yeah, this dude basically just ruined his life at 21 years old, what it was then, which seems like it was already kind of ruined at like 18, 19 then, when he was doing this other shit. So yeah, don't be dumb. Don't be that kind of person, man. And you won't be in prison until you're like 55, 60 years old, what it is then. So, which, again, if you're going to be doing stuff like that, I don't care if you're going to try to kill a cop, you're going to try and kill somebody else like that, or whatever the case be, just like out of nowhere is what it is, dude. Like, it just needs to be like honest prosecutions at this point, honestly, dude. Or very close to it. Like, just like within, like, I would say maybe like a couple of days of that, like, dudes either at the end of a fucking rope or firing squad or something else for that matter, what it is then. Like, if we had a true justice system, that's what it would be then. Would be, yep, we just kill killers and would-be killers and stuff like that's what it is there, child molesters, etc. there. And we down our prison population by quite a bit, that's what it is then. So, and that's, to me, that's kind of crazy too, when you think about it, like how the escalation of violence happened with this is what it is then, because dude went from being a drug, like aggravated drug charge / trafficking stuff, to wife beating, to attempted cop killing. So in the time span of like 2 years. And I'm just like, yeah, this dude's got some serious fucking issues then. But hopefully he'll be put away for pretty much the rest of his life as it'll be then. And ain't gonna be an issue no more. But yeah, other than that though, that's pretty much where I'm at for the day though. I got some stuff I gotta do, so. Plus I'm starting to, I don't know if you guys can hear my stomach growling. It's been growling pretty much the entire episode now. So I definitely am getting hungry right now. I'm gonna go get something to eat, it'll be. So I think I'm gonna go grab something to munch on and then probably figure out what I have for stuff I can either throw in the oven for dinner, or I can throw in the I pulled out some ribs from I gotten some ribs from one of the local places recently. Threw them in my freezer like a couple weeks ago, and then I ended up thawing them out the other day. Had that last night for Christmas dinner. Those were really good, actually. And yeah, they were pretty tasty though. So I don't know. I will say I don't. Did I do a taste test review on the chicken patty things from Walmart or not? Because if I didn't do that, maybe I'll do that at some point in the future. Those were pretty good. I figure if I throw those in the air fryer, it's maybe like 20-ish minutes or so, and those will usually be done. So those are pretty good. I've had them two different ways at this point. I've had them just plain on a piece of bun, and they're just pretty tasty like that because they're still like pretty juicy and succulent and stuff like that. The way I like to do them, though, I usually will take some barbecue sauce and either put it directly on the breading of the chicken, or I'll put it on the bun itself, and then it'll just be like kind of sandwiched in there is what it is there. So it's pretty good either way. I recently tried some onion rings from Walmart actually, because I had gotten some minced ones before that, and they didn't have the minced ones last time I went there, so I ended up getting the like full onion rings is what it was. Those weren't bad. I think maybe I put them in a little bit too long though, because I think I did them for almost 20 minutes is what it was or something, and then they should have maybe gone in for like 15 or so. I think on the bag it specifically said that was supposed to be like a slightly lower temperature for like maybe 10 to 12 or something, I think is what it was or something. I put them in for like 15 or 16 or something, and they were a little bit higher temp, and they were still like, they were good, but they were like way too crunchy. Like some of them were actually burned as what it was on the edges and stuff. So, but yeah, they weren't bad though, and I could see if they were like golden brown, it'd be really good then, obviously. So, but yeah, I definitely need to. I think as soon as I move out of here next year and get a new place, I think my plan will be at the new place. We'll definitely be getting what I was trying to do this year as it was, which is going to be doing a better diet and stuff like that. Starting to cut out a lot more processed stuff then, and basically get my weight under control, because I know I've gained quite a bit of weight this year, and I think maybe a lot of it just has to do with the fact that I'm just so over everything as what it is, and then gotta deal with that bullshit for the past 8 months now is what it is. It's just become a whole thing of just like between sleep deprivation and just like constant back pain and constant knee pain and stuff like that. Like it's basically just like me trying to do my own thing right now and figure things out as what it is or something. So, and fortunately, I'm not able to get to places where I can keep fresh ingredients on hand all the time is what it is then. And that's one thing that does kind of suck actually, is like I do want to eat more salads, but the problem is like if I go to a place and I buy a couple heads of lettuce or whatever the case be, and I realize now with a single head of lettuce I can basically cut that into like 4s or even like potentially like 6 depending on sometimes, and basically make like anywhere from like 4 big salads to like 6 to 7 smaller salads out of that one head of lettuce. And not realizing that, I've done things before where I bought in 2 or 3 heads at the same time or whatever the case be, and then I just end up tossing like an entire head of lettuce is what it is then, because it goes bad before I can use it. So I don't think you can. I don't think you can freeze that and then thaw it out later either, because like once it's there, it's there. So it's basically either eat it and whatever, or just not, buy it or whatever the case be. Maybe, and I don't really want to buy like the pre-packaged salad mix either, because that stuff is kind of disgusting, honestly, and they put way too much extra shit in there that I don't want to eat anyway. Not to mention, I've seen there a bunch of recalls this year on that kind of stuff because it's all contaminated with like salmonella or E. coli or something like that. So I don't want to, obviously rely on that shit either. So I don't know. It is what it is. I think I just need to, when I see my doctor for the checkup here in the next month or so, I think I just need to go and talk to a dietitian there at that place. And then basically speak with the dietitian, figure out what I can do for like meal prep and stuff like that is what it'll be then in the coming year. And then basically from there, maybe start doing some kind of meal prep where I'm not just like, any given day, just like pulling some out of the freezer and throwing it in the air fryer. I'm actually, maybe cooking an actual like legitimate chicken breasts that I buy from like a store, or I go get like a steak from like a butcher shop or something like that, and make that with some potatoes and carrots or whatever the case be, then and have like an actual good meal. So instead of relying on convenience, but then again, the problem with that is like obviously with the way that my health is and my back pain constantly, and then my knee pain constantly, it's really hard to even cook at all for that matter. So really, it's just hard for me to stand at like at a stove for any amount of time. Really, is what it is there to cook anything without my back being in serious aching pain. That is what it is. So, and then apparently this oven that's here in this place is not the greatest now. I don't know if it's just dying slowly or what it is, but I know that at least one of the burners was messed up months ago. The landlord brought me another heating element thing to put in there, is what it is. That didn't work because it wasn't the same size or whatever then. Then apparently when we tried to do that one, then I don't know if it messed up one of the front ones or what it was, because now one of the front ones is not working either. And the only ones that are working are like the two smaller ones then. So I don't know if he just needs to change all four, like change the bigger two that are like that size into like this size ones, or if it's going to need to be a situation where he just needs to get rid of that whole oven entirely and just change out the entire oven. So it is then, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the actual oven itself then, besides the stove part of it, I've done the Motor City pizzas in there from time to time, obviously. And I noticed with that one is there'll be some times where it's like the one side is like way done, and then the other side is just like barely cooked essentially. So I don't know if like the heat in the oven part is going bad too or not. So yeah, that's just another reason to get the fuck out of here as soon as my lease ends, basically. And hopefully then I'll be able to find another place, which will be my plan right now. Is in January to February is start looking for places, and hopefully by end of February, early March, I'll be able to find a place then and be able to move into it come very end of March is what it is then. During that time, obviously, I'll have to go figure out like 2 minute a truck thing, or whoever around here will do moving and stuff like that, and just be like, yeah, I got this many boxes that need to be moved or whatever the case be. And then, of course, from there, I'll just contact my cousin and stuff like that and be like, hey, dude, like, it'll be on this day. Like, I need you to come over here so I can do, if nothing else, what I might end up doing is I may end up having him just take all my long guns to his place for a day or two then while I'm moving. And then eventually just bring them back to me as what it'll be then. And in the meantime, we'll just have the guys that are the actual movers just move my gun locker to the new facilities, then it'll be empty at the time. So, and then any kind of gun related stuff will just be with me as what it is then, in like a vehicle that I'll be transporting myself as what it is then, whether it be ammunition, whether it be actual handguns, etc. there. So anyways, but yeah, hopefully whatever the place I'm moving to next will be one I'll stay in for several years anyway. I don't want to say forever home yet, because I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it'll probably be like a 3 to 4 year home, honestly, and I can find something that's like maybe an actual home that it is then. Relatively speaking, if I could actually find something that would be like a rent to own, like 1 or 2 bedroom house that I could afford, that would be perfect for me, honestly. But unfortunately, those don't really exist right now. And if they do exist, they're like way out of my price range, because nobody wants to have affordability in this country anymore, because you got all these fucking politicians that are like, oh no, let's import everybody into the fucking country from the third world, and then be like, and you got dipshits like Vivek being like, well, anybody can be an American. And it's like, no, the fuck they can't, asshole. Like, stop trying to be a little globalist cunt for the fucking Bilderberg group and Soros and stuff, you douche. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if we do see more, like, political violence come the new year, too, for that matter. Just to be clear, I'm not encouraging that to happen, but I would not be surprised in the least if there was, like, some more Charlie Kirk kind of incidents happening with political candidates and stuff like that this coming year of all major political parties then, because just the way people are fucking around and doing all kind of anti-American shit, including the Americans and stuff like that. I would not be surprised if there was like somebody take a pot shot at them for that matter, or for that same matter of things, if it was them doing some kind of false flag attack on themselves for that matter to make themselves look better is what it is then, which is low-key fucked up, but like at the same time I wouldn't put it past any of these people, especially like Vivek types and stuff like that, to like be like, oh, the left tried to kill me like Charlie Kirk, or the right tried, or like the, what do they call it now, like the woke right or whatever they call them now, which is just such a fucking stupid phrase. It's like, oh, Fuentes and his crew try to take a pot shot at me or something like that, and it's like all fucking lies, basically. So, but yeah, it's just the whole thing, man. So, I wouldn't be surprised. I know Nick has mentioned something now about coming here to Ohio in the coming months to just try to fuck up the primary here and be like, oh, if it comes down to it being fucking Amy Acton being in power, then or whatever, it's like, how about you go fuck off, Fuentes? Seriously, like, this is my personal message to Nick Fuentes. Stay the fuck out of Ohio. You do not live here. You do not vote in this state. You have no fucking political reason to be here, asshole. Stay the fuck out. Stay the fuck out and fuck off. We don't need your fucking bullshit fucking over the Republican primary and handing the damn thing to Vivek because you got a bunch of fucking idiots that are like, oh, this fucking wannabe Nazi motherfucker is now attacking Vivek Ramaswamy, so let's vote for Vivek now. That's what's going to cause, dude, for real. Like, you're just going to backfire yourselves what it is, idiot. So, yeah, just stay the fuck out of Ohio. Keep your griper bullshit elsewhere, motherfucker. If nothing else, just tell your fucking voter base to start helping us here at the network with Article 1, Section 2 of the Ohio Constitution so we can actually abolish the state government in 2026 then completely is what it is. Start fresh from there is what it'll be then. Because there's a lot of rhinos, there's a lot of fucking Democrat corruption on both sides of the political aisle there. And I personally like to see all of it got rid of then in 2026, but it's not going to happen until we actually abolish state government and start fresh with bringing people that are much lower quantities of people is what it is then. Like, minimum, we could at least go from 132 in the General Assembly to 120 through one county, one rep stuff. And then having one state senator for 4 counties is what it is then. We can get rid of 22 idiots that way is what it is there. Or no, sorry, not 120. It would be a 110. Yeah, we can go from 132 to 110 then is what it is. So yeah, we can get rid of literally 22 people off the bat. We could actually force Columbus, Franklin County area to have a single state rep instead of having like fucking 15 from that area then. So, but anyway, like I said, though, I got some stuff I gotta do. I'm gonna get something to eat and then figure some stuff out what it is then. So, I will see you guys tomorrow afternoon at some point. I'm not sure exactly when. I gotta go to the store before I do anything else then. So it'll probably be like around this time, 3-4 o'clock then, for Slicey Boy Saturday. I'll probably I think I'm going to do a top 5 in 2025, like my favorite top 5 blades I got in 2025, basically from Amazon, etc. there, and basically just go over each one and, you know, cost it at the time that I paid for it and how much it costs right now, obviously. So we'll just do a little preview of that one, which is the old Walmart $10 knife, which I think this cost me like, I want to say I got these on sale for like, it was either $7 or $8 a piece then, because they were on clearance or whatever at the time. So I do like that. I gotta say, of like all these, I will say of all the different little access bar, crossbar lock knives, I like this one for 2 reasons. And the main reasons there is because you have the way that the little tabs are there. It's much easier to open. And it also has a full liner in the thing. There's what it is. Plus it's made of D2 steel, so it doesn't hurt. And like I said, for $8-10, whatever it cost me there, it's a good deal. So I'm not sure if it'll be a top 5. Maybe it'll be a top 10 actually, because there is several different knives that I do like quite a bit that I got this year that I do want to discuss. And obviously, trying to think now. Because I got... Maybe I'll do a top 5 folders and a top 5 fixed blades, actually, for that. So, where it'll be like 2 individual groups, then it'll be the best of the 5 fixed blades I got this year, and then it'll be the best of the 5 folding knives I got this year is what it is then. So, yeah, I'm not sure how I would actually put that then. Maybe it'd be like top 5 fixed blades and top 5 folders of 2025, something like that then. So, anyway. That being said, that's where we're going to be at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you all in the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Always be carrying. Always be situationally aware. And always make sure that you got some OC spray on you. For those who don't know what this is, it's the Police OC17 Magnum. I got this off of Amazon this week. This is actually what I've been carrying for about 4 months now is what it is. And this is legit OC spray. So... whether it be for 4-legged attacks or whether it be for 2-legged attacks. So, you got to have something to protect yourselves what it is when you're out and about, besides a lethal force is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, till later. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. Always be carrying. Always be aware of what's happening. And figure out exactly where your exits are whenever you are out someplace, because you never want to be caught up in something and not have a way to flee if you can flee. So, anyway, later, y'all. See ya.